Welcome to the only daily podcast focusing on compliance news of the day. Each morning, start your day with a cup of coffee and Tom Fox, the voice of compliance, to hear about 4 of the top compliance, corruption, or leadership stories you will need to start your day. The Daily Compliance News is a production of the Compliance Podcast Network.
First, a word from our sponsor. The Daily Compliance News for Groundhog's Day, February 2nd, 2022, the NFL Sued edition. And we began with that story from the Wall Street Journal that former Miami Dolphins coach Brian Flores has sued the NFL alleging discrimination against black coaches. He says there is racism in the hiring and retention of black coaches. He was dismissed by the Dolphins earlier this year at the end of the season, and his suit figures to reinvigorate the debate around the league's diversity hiring efforts, which have come under much scrutiny lately. Of course, the NFL has a disparate number of coaches as compared to black players. The NFL claims, of course, they're not qualified. About the only thing you can say to that is horse hockey, that owners are in an incestuous club and really only hire who they want to without regard to any anti-discrimination laws. Our next story comes to us from the New York Times, and it's an even more troubling story. It's about famed coach Alberto Salazar, whose lifetime ban from the sport was upheld by an arbitrator, which revealed for the first time that more likely than not, he sexually assaulted an athlete on at least 2 different occasions. Salazar was permanently ruled ineligible in July 2021, finding he had committed 4 allegations, and just a really sad ending to who was a great runner, became a great coach, but certainly engaged in activity which was not appropriate, and this ban is well deserved. From Reuters comes the story that credit rating agencies face new risks as they throw themselves into the growing business of ESG-based investing. The Securities and Exchange Commission warned in a report. Investors have obviously put a lot of money in this, and now the ratings agencies are failing to, this has created rather potential risks for the rating agencies, such as failing to follow ratings methodologies and failures to manage conflicts of interest, which have dogged the ratings industry really since their abysmal failures in the 2008 financial crisis. So more pressure on the ratings agencies around ESG. And finally, yet another first-time contributor to the Daily Compliance News, the National Post. In an article, Peter McKay argues that a full court press on global anti-corruption should lead to the creation of an international anti-corruption court to put offenders on trial for their misdeeds. This is obviously a very interesting idea. The Republicans of the United States are against any type of world court or justice really on a worldwide basis, so I would say it would have little chance in America. The Daily Compliance News is a production of the Compliance Podcast Network and a proud member of C-Suite Radio. Thanks so much for listening. I hope you'll join me again tomorrow.
This podcast is a part of the C-Suite Radio Network. For more top business podcasts, visit c-suiteradio.com.